Good morning, friends. Welcome back. This is Ashley with Uncommon Roots Homestead, and today I brought my seeds over to the land because it feels like a good day to put some seeds in the ground. So I know that, I'm actually gonna leave these. I know that putting seeds in the ground today is an interesting choice, mostly because tomorrow night we are forecasting lows in the 20s. Normally, I would just wait that one out, right? Luckily, I haven't. Unlike previous years, I have exercised some self-control, and I have not put all of my starts in the ground yet. The only starts that I have in the ground are cold hardy. Now, I think it's set for like 28 degrees. That's pretty cold. I'm probably not going to cover anything, but I would consider it. Like, I would consider covering up some of my brassicas just because they're so young, not because they can't withstand a cold front, because they can, but just because they haven't been in the ground that long and they're pretty young. I might consider covering them. I'm just being realistic and saying I probably am not going to. But if I were being a super diligent gardener, I probably would go ahead and cover those. But the reason I'm going to put some seeds in the ground that I'm not worried about it is that the seeds won't have time to germinate. And so cold temperatures will be fine for seeds. I mean, you have things that reseed year over year, and it's called cold stratification, actually. Some seeds actually do better when they get really cold before they germinate. The risk is if they germinate and they pop up and then the cold just kills them because they're not frost hardy. I wanted to just take a peek. I planted some elderberry here a couple days ago. It's looking really good. I need to bring some water up here. We actually haven't gotten any rain in the last couple of days, and so some of my blueberries all look really good. My raspberries look really good, but those elderberry, I got them in the ground and then it didn't rain, so they just could use a little bit of love. So I'm gonna go ahead and water them. Also, I don't know if I'm the only animal parent out there that's like this, but when you arrive at our property, you kind of drive in through this long driveway, and our house will be way down there. But you can see over in the side Jeannie's pasture. And every time I drive up and I can't immediately see her down in the pasture, I have like a surge of anxiety, and I'm like, I've got to go find Jeannie. Though I know she's down there. Like, she has a lot of places that she can kind of hide in the woods over there. So I know she's fine, but we will also go down there and take a look at her just to make sure. And to get my daily hello in. Hi, big boy. Want to come to the garden with me? I think that's a yes. Also, look how exciting this is. This is my passion fruit vine. So it died back. We had a really cold winter. And I was afraid that maybe it would not come back, but here it is. Yay. So exciting. Woo. Big bumblebee came up and scared me. I promise I am making my way back down. I just want to check out all of the things. Man, this lettuce is almost ready to start harvesting. It looks so good. It's so good. Lettuce grown right now, like this time of year, it's just the best because our nights are still really cold, but our days are really warm, so it's growing pretty aggressively, but it's just super good. Bunnies looking good. Still down there. I'm wondering when the mom is going to move them. It feels like it's going to be forever. Also, I planted some thyme here. It's looking pretty good. And some sage. It's looking pretty good too. I've got garlic over here as well. It's looking good. It's thirsty. I need to water that. So for those of you who don't know, anytime you plant in a container, as opposed to in ground or even in a raised bed, they need more water. Containers dry out much quicker than the ground does, or like a larger surface area. So good to know if you didn't know that, because often I'll be able to like let my garden go and not worry about it, but the containers need love. They need water. Also, can you guys just appreciate this jungle? I was gonna walk over there and check on my fig trees, but look at, it's like, they're like engulfed. All this says to me is snakes. That's all I can think about. I am not a snake person. I appreciate their value and that a lot of them are very beneficial. And I do not bother them, but I do not like them. And I prefer if I do not see them. Like, I would much prefer to never see a snake than have to come up upon one, especially like in tall grass. It's just like, it's one of my like deepest fears. I don't know if that's silly, but it's the worst. I didn't even really look at this when I was showing you the passion vine before, but look how large this elephant ear garlic is already. Like, I mean, that's huge. That stalk is so much bigger than some of the other stalks. It's just crazy. So crazy. Kevin and I were talking the other day about how perfect this property is for like the combination of sun and shade. There are so many like places of reprieve on this property, and I think that that's one of the reasons that we fell in love with it so much. You know, most of the things that you do or that we do, you know, with gardening and things like that require full sun. And so it's not super often that we look at a place with shade or like a lot of shade. And one thing we didn't really realize about this property is that though the pastures get complete sun, the garden area gets complete sun, like where we have the orchard gets complete sun, there are so many like little pockets of like the perfect amount of shade for humans. And we hung this swing for the kids, and you know, when we did that, I wanted a place for them to be in the garden. It's close, so you can kind of see the garden right behind there. I wanted a place for them to kind of just be and to have a space that was their own, in my space. And I'm just like standing here kind of in awe. You know, we hung that swing and didn't even think about the fact that it would be in the shade in the heat of the day. And like, how perfect is that? Like, what a perfect place. It's so often that I find myself out here and just like in awe of my creator and just in awe of the beauty that I get to experience here on the land. And, you know, that's why I homestead. That's why we're pursuing this. It's to embrace a lifestyle that allows us to be more in tune with creation. It's pretty cool. Isla is going to be so excited about this. Also, this is why you mark what you're doing when you do it, because yesterday, or 2 days ago, I took you guys with me and I planted some dahlias, and I didn't mark where I planted them, and now I can't remember where I planted them. That's fun. that I wanted to show you guys. I just dug up, I realized I had one more potted dahlia that had died. But look at that life coming out, and look at all of these tubers. So I'm probably gonna get at least 6 different dahlia plants from that one plant. And they're all starting to grow too. Super cool. Nature is so cool. So this is the part in gardening where I go rogue. I've already kind of left my plan. I need to actually redraw my plan. I do this every year. I'm about to go rogue. I just got out a ton of seeds that I can plant right now, and probably just gonna plant them wherever I want instead of where I said I was gonna plant them. But it's my garden. So what I'm gonna do right now is actually plant some spinach here in the bed next to my cabbage and cauliflower and broccoli. So spinach, I'm gonna harvest as baby spinach. So I'm gonna harvest it pretty young. These are gonna be small for a pretty long time. So I'm just gonna actually do like 2 rows, 1 on each side. And then as these get bigger, eventually they'll kind of like swallow up the spinach. But because I'm gonna be harvesting the spinach so young, it's not really gonna matter. The spinach is never gonna overcrowd these or take any, sun away from them. It's not gonna block them or anything like that. So I get more spinach out of it, and I also get to eat out of this bed much sooner than the rest of these will be ready. All right, so I'm also gonna put some leeks and some bunching onions in today. These, they'll be fine. They're cold tolerant. I could have started them way earlier, but they'll grow. I'm gonna actually put them in one of the beds that gets afternoon shade. It still gets probably 8 hours of sun, but I think they'll be good because these are harvested small. I'm not really worried about it. I've actually never grown leeks before. So I bought these 2 years ago and just have never actually planted them. So I'm gonna give them a try today. This is the part where I should absolutely go get a pen and a marker and mark what I'm planting. I might do it. But first I'm gonna plant these. So I ended up going ahead and choosing this bed. My arch trellises are going in between these 2 beds. So I knew I was gonna be planting on mostly on one side so that they can climb over. I'm gonna do cucumbers and Kajari melons, things like that. So, and beans, obviously beans. But what that meant is that I have a lot of space in the middle of the bed and on this side. So I ended up doing leeks and then carrots, and then I did in this little section here, I just did a group of bunching onions. So I'm gonna go ahead and plant some herbs now. I started a bunch of herbs, but I'm gonna just throw some seeds in and see what happens. And then I gotta go check on Jeannie if I can stop planting. It's this is what happens in the beginning of the growing season. I'm just put everything in. Actually, it's not just the beginning of the growing season. Who am I kidding? It's literally all season long. I will be popping seeds into this garden. Though, I hope that you noticed, I did go ahead and get my markers out and start marking things because I know that future me is going to appreciate that. So, here's a tip. Think of future you. Even if you think it's not a big deal, I don't really care, think of future you. Future you will thank you. Because when things start popping up and you can't tell what's a weed from what's what, and if you haven't grown a ton of stuff before or you're growing in a new space, just trust me. mark your things. And I made a mental note to weed these carrots, or to thin these carrots. So I'm gonna do that too this year. This is my year. This is my year of thinning. So I planted more than I intended to plant, which is always a fun thing. I was gonna put some sunflowers in. I think I'm still gonna carry those down. I'm planning on putting some sunflowers and zinnias down by my Jerusalem artichokes. I might actually wait on those. I think I'm gonna wait. So I'm gonna do that when we return. So I think I told you guys, but we're going out of town. And so that's why I'm planting right now. Even though we have that risk of frost, I'm not really worried about it because none of these seeds will have germinated by tomorrow night when we're supposed to get the frost. And then it's warm from there on out. We're already past our final frost, but that doesn't really mean anything. That's just an estimate. So you should never live and die by that. Always watch the forecast. I was talking to somebody the other day and they're like, but I'm past my final frost. I was like, it doesn't matter if the weather says differently. It doesn't matter. The weather is what matters. And the people who estimate final frosts, they don't control the weather. So make sure you check your weather. But because we're going to be out of town, I just wanted to make sure I get some of these things in the ground, and I have no self-control when it comes to the garden. So there's that. All right, so a recap, mostly for myself. Today I planted holy basil, lavender, carrots, leeks, bunching onions, spinach, Swiss chard. Ooh, I got a lot done. So now what I need to do is go down and check on Jeannie, and then I need to unload the cardboard from the back of the truck and put it down over in the no dig section because we still got to get that part of the garden done. I'm guessing it's going to probably take us another week with us being out of town, but that's okay. That's about when I would want to put my melons in anyways. Sometimes we get a frost closer to Mother's Day, so that's okay with me. Just want to make sure we get it done. So let's go check on Jeannie. Hey, Jeannie girl. You need your spray? You need some spray? Hey, Jeannie baby. You wondering what I got? Let's get you some spray. Let's get those flies. Come on. So the flies have been so bad lately, and we're not even like into the thick of it. So I made up an organic spray for her with essential oils and apple cider vinegar. I am just staying open to the idea that maybe we'll have to go with something a little bit stronger. I just don't want her to be plagued by flies all summer. This cow literally hates the fly spray. Are you gonna let me spray you? It's gonna help. Will you let me? She literally ran away and ran around the barn as soon as I sprayed her. Can you let me do it? Please. All right, well, I got you a little. What do you say to everybody? Say bye. Go check on the chickens. Okay, literally, this chicken is going to be the death of me. What are you doing out again? She's out every evening that I come over here. Every single one. You're gonna get eaten. You should stay in your yard. Here's my Jerusalem artichoke. So I went ahead and put this bed right here, just outside of the chicken yard. Jerusalem artichoke is actually very invasive. So I planted it here just in case it does hop over, they'll eat it. I just didn't want it to overtake the rest of my garden. But this girl, she just keeps coming in. It's not okay. And of course, George, still here. Still mean. He's on his way. I'm gonna have to get the dog out and bring the dog in there because I can't actually go in alone. George will attack me. well, between a mean rooster and a very hyper livestock guardian puppy, that's not really the egg collecting experience that I dream about, but this too shall pass and it will get easier. But for now, it's a little bit stressful. We got to figure out how to correct the gate over by Jeannie so that Fury can move in there permanently. Right now, we let him out while we're here doing chores, just a few hours a day. But for the most part, he's in his little run. And you know, he's getting big. I'd prefer to get him out of there. So our goal is to do that hopefully soon, as soon as we can. All the projects, if you're wondering what homesteading is like, it's like having 100 projects that just, as soon as you finish one, another one starts. But I wouldn't change a thing. Thank you guys for gardening with me today. Thanks for collecting some eggs and hanging out with Jeannie. Until next time.